So here we are with a test lab setup, some old PCs, the old faithful Mac, the i7 laptop that's running everything through this monitor, and also the HP workstation, which is acting as the main virtual host, 8 processors and loads of RAM. Everything's controlled through Microsoft Hyper-V Manager. In 2012, this is very, very similar to the 2008 version. You can see the hosts that are running the virtual machines. There's my laptop, which is running a domain controller. And we've got 2 hosts, one representing the main site, which is host 2, with 2 machines running, a domain controller, which is 2008, and also a SQL server. That represents the main production site. We've got some extra add-on options in the latest version. You can see the settings for the machines. We've also got full control, but we have a few extra bits and pieces. The new bits are move, which allows you to actually move a running machine from one physical host to another, and also replication, and that's what we're looking at today. We can access the machine, and we can see here a Windows 2008 machine. Just log on. We'll notice that this is running on the HP workstation, so it has a Xeon processor. On the desktop there's a couple of documents. These have been used in previous tests. Everything runs very smoothly. Now, the whole idea of this is to replicate across to host number 1. This would be somewhere off-site. It could be in the same building, but we can replicate across the internet. You can see host 1 at the moment is only running one machine, which is a copy of the DC running on host 2. So, let's set up replication. Very simple wizard to run through. All we have to do is tell the main server who its replication partner is. In this case, we're going to pick host 1. We then move on to telling it how it's going to talk to its partner. We use the default settings, which is port 80 and Kerberos authentication. This is the location of the virtual machine on the remote server. And we're going to say only replicate the latest recovery points. You can have several snapshots of the machine transferred. In order to start the replication, you've got to have a copy of the state of the original machine to start from. In this case, you're going to send it across the network. You can actually make a copy onto a hard drive and drive to your disaster site. There are lots of options. Summary and finish. Replication's enabled. Now it's given me the option to actually set some of the parameters on the recovery machine. Particularly, really it wants to say, is it going to be connected to a network? And every Hyper-V server has the facility to run its own network, and we're just going to say to use the existing network on the recovery machine. Now, if we switch over to the recovery machine, we can already see that there are now 2 virtual machines running. And the status of our new virtual machine is that it's receiving changes. Now, there's a lot of data that has to be transferred initially. The original SQL Server is around about 11 gigabytes of data. If you were to copy that across a normal network, it would probably take about 15 to 18 minutes. But this seems to be going a lot faster. It's transferring at an enormous speed. Now, this is thanks to Windows Server 2012 employing SMB3, which is a new file sharing protocol. It seems almost like you can transfer data faster than your network is physically capable of. It's very, very good and a massive improvement. All the while that this transfer is taking place, you've got full access. Nobody who's using the server would know that anything is happening in the background. Still just as responsive. Everything's working fine. We're not covering moving a machine here, but it is possible to actually move the virtual machine entirely from one server in one location to another place, anywhere in the world, and users would continue to be logged on and operating completely as normal. Now we can see changes are still going across. It may take a little while. While we're here, I can just show you the Server Manager, which is very much updated in Windows 2012 with with Windows 8 management. Very, very nice dashboard. It's showing everything's green. That means everything's good. Views are completely customizable. All I've got here is a view that shows my two Hyper-V servers, and it can be programmed to have all sorts of links and options. Here we've got the event viewer. You can remotely access events on any server. You can check out performance. Go to Hyper-V and see what's going on. All of this would be possible in the older versions, but it would take a lot of intervention, a lot of clicking. It'd be a very, very manual process. So this is a really, really big improvement, especially on a larger network. When I say larger, I mean anything more than 2 or 3 machines, and as everyone knows, you'll be having quite a hard job to keep track of everything. This just gives a very good visual representation of what's going on, and if anything at all goes wrong, it will flag up very, very quickly where to go and have a look to sort out your configuration or to access any tools that are necessary. So it's still at 46% and climbing. Down the bottom you can see there are several little tabs. We can see the state of the machines, the virtual machines that is, showing the memory, how the networking is set up, and of course replication. This is showing that there is a replica, or this machine is a replica. Replication is enabled. What's this? Warning. Now that's just saying that replication may not be fully up to date, and that's because the machines haven't been turned on for very long this morning, but soon enough that will get back in step. Replication by default happens at least every 5 minutes. When the system is running perfectly, you'll be able to see, here we go, it would show the latency. At the moment it's probably not actually completing because the initial replication is not set up. During my tests, it's roughly 2 minutes it's been showing as the latency, which is, it means the replica machine is only 2 minutes behind the main machine. which is a big improvement compared to traditional backup methods. Now this is going to take a little while, so I think what I'll do is take a very, very small pause, and we'll come back to this in a minute or so. Now you see the other machine did a quick synchronization, only takes seconds. Right, we're now back with replication complete. So machines from host 2 are now fully replicated onto host 1. And what we're going to do is just quickly connect to the SQL server on the main production system. So what I'd like to do is add a file to it, which we can then see being replicated across to the other site. So I'll just create a quick text document, add some content, otherwise it wouldn't be replicated. Oops. It's 3 for replication. And save the changes. There it is. So what we really want to see is on our host machine, the replica, we want to see that document appearing. Just making a change to the source machine to show that it will be carried across. Down the bottom here, we're seeing that replication status is normal. And we would see every few minutes something pop up in the status section to say changes being transmitted. Well, I'm just waiting here to see replication status to flicker through, but what have we got here? The server manager's gone red, and it's telling us that something is wrong. The dashboard is showing that manageability has been degraded somewhere on the network, and it's telling me that an automatic refresh has failed when trying to contact host 1. This could be something or nothing. Everything seems to be working, so what we need to do is check the event logs, quick refresh, and it looks like everything's back. Back to the dashboard, all green. So that was just a little glitch, probably because of the home network. We're trying to do our best with what we've got. So we're still waiting for the replication to happen, which is obviously very frustrating for a demonstration. Let's have a look at what replication options we've got. Failover is fairly obvious. That would make an immediate switch to the replica machine. You can pause replication. I'm not quite sure why you'd want to. Then we can view the replication health. Now here everything is looking good. We've got normal health, a nice little green tick. There have been 3 replication cycles. Average latency 2 minutes. Not bad. Apparently Microsoft say that this system will even work across a home ADSL connection. So bandwidth isn't that big an issue. Quite how that works out in practice, we would have to test and see. Typically, just when I want to show you something, it's not happening. But let's jump to when it actually works. Right, we've now got replication occurring. We're going to look at the disaster recovery site, and we're going to use one of the options to test our failover. Now, clicking this option here doesn't bring the replica online. It generates a copy, an entire copy of your replica instantly. How's that? We'll start our new server, a new virtual server, and we'll connect up to it. And as normal, it's wondering what on earth it's doing. It's saying, I've got a headache, I've just woken up and I don't know who I am. So we just tell Windows to do an instant repair, and it's booting up beautifully as a normal server. In the meantime, full replication is still occurring in the background. And this is a copy of our replicated server, which just enables us to go in and make sure that everything's working as it should be. Now, this off-site host is one of the normal PCs that I've put into service as a server. So the performance is very, very much degraded compared to the HP workstation, which is a very, very powerful machine. So the performance on this replica copy is a little bit slow, but it's still adequate. It wouldn't be any good for a production environment, but for our purposes today, it's perfect. So let's log on. We get the usual popping up of Server Manager and bits and pieces as we start, but hello, there we are. There's our document replicated across to the disaster recovery site. It shows that all the changes have been made and that we've got a copy of the original server. So if the original had failed, burned, been blown up, everything's still running over here. And how long did it take to boot that server? Even on this very, very poor hardware, just a few seconds. And the big point is it's now running on a Pentium dual-core CPU. Amazing. Different hardware, but it all works.